Morning. We've just parked up at Wasdale Head. It's Tuesday after May bank holiday, our day off, so we chose to leave it over the weekend and come when things hopefully had quietened down, which they absolutely have. We were the first car in Wasdale Head car park this morning, 7 AM. We're just heading into the valley of Mosedale, where we're going to pick up Dorehead Screes, a tough old route up onto Dorehead, where we're then going to head for Red Pike, Pillar, and then come back down by Black Pass. Just me and Billy today. There he is. The weather's been absolutely rubbish over the weekend up here in Cumbria. We've just had clag and clag and more clag. Hardly been able to see a top. Another of the reasons I chose to give it a miss the last 3 days. We had a really good improving forecast for today, so we've took advantage of it. So we left the car park, head down the road a little bit to the Wasdale Inn, where we took the footpath around the back of the Wasdale Inn, over that lovely little bridge, which then puts you in the valley of Mosedale, heading down the side of Wasdale Beck, which is just to the right of us here. And there's the valley straight ahead of us. Hopefully this is it, the start of summer. Dorehead Screes is just up here. A little further up the valley here, we'll take a left off the path and start heading up the Screes. The Screes takes us to the Col of Dore Head, which is right below the notorious scramble route of Stead Crag onto Wastwater. But we ain't going that way. When we get to the top, we're going to turn right, where we'll head over Black Crag and then over Red Pike. So just by the big rock here, we're going to leave the valley and we're going to start heading up the Screes, just there straight in front of us. And if you think this is bad, it doesn't even compare to the alternative route further up the valley of Wind Gap, which comes down off Pillar. I wouldn't advise Wind Gap as a descent or ascent. It is just absolutely horrible. This route is rough and it's steep, but it is quite short. Gets us up the hill quickly and onto the mountains. So would I regard it as a scramble? I'm going to say yes, definitely, because of the steepness, because of the loose rock, because of the want of being very careful. I'm definitely going to regard it as a scramble route. It's not easy, be careful. If there's anyone up there ahead of you, they might send some loose stuff down on top of you. Just pick away at it, take your time, have plenty of rests, and eventually you'll get up. It's a bit easier now, we're getting onto a bit of moss and grass. We've came to the right hand side of the scree chute. I've only ever done Dorehead Screes once before today, and I came down, and that is the reason I'm doing this route this way around, because I swore then that day that I'd never ever go down there again, and I maintain that. Just look at that, you really don't want to go down there. For me it's an ascent only. Stead of Crag ahead of us. You can come up the left hand side, you can come up the scree chute itself, or you can come up the right hand side, which is what we've done. But be warned, a tumble backwards from any of this route would be pretty serious. You would not want to go back down in a hurry. And that's it, we're finally in the col where this cairn signifies the top of Dorehead Screes. That was tough. There's Stead of Crag, there's Red Pike and Pillar, Kirkfell behind us. Yeah, on my hardness scale, I'm going to give that a 10 out of 10. So from the col we'll turn right and head up to a gloomy looking Black Crag and Red Pike. Pillar over the way there looks clear at the moment, so fingers crossed. Down the other side of Wasdale it's very clear towards the coast. I think this clag's just going to be temporary, or hopefully. This little hill we're heading for now is called Black Crag, just here. Billy's never been up the side of this mountain to Red Pike, and Black Crag's a foothill of Red Pike. It's a classified mountain, 801 metres. It's a singe, and we're going to go and bag it. The summit of Black Crag 801 metres. It's a Singe and it's British Hill number 1005 for our lad Billy, the rock star. There you go. It's got a nice little cairn on the top. If you follow the footpath, you'll miss the hill. You've got to stray away from the footpath, but not too far, only about 20-30 yards. There you go. Right then, we're back on the Red Pike path. We're going to cut our way through this clag and head for the summit of Red Pike. It's not too much further up here and it's not a lot higher. 826 metres. It's only 25 metres higher than where we are now. I've not been up Red Pike many times, I think only 3 or 4 times, and this route itself I've only actually done once, the opposite way around, so it's all kind of new to me. This side of Pillar Red Pike is a bit outlying to my usual routes onto Pillar. I usually go up from Ennerdale side. Pillar, incidentally, I have been up a lot. I think I've probably been up Pillar 20 times. So yeah, it's a familiar hill to me. It used to be my favourite hill. Blencathra was my favourite hill for many years. I've been up there over 100 times. Helvellyn over 50-60 times. No, I don't have a favourite now. I just love them all. Here we are, Red Pike Wasdale, 826 metres. It's a Wainwright, a Burkitt, a Hewitt and a Nuttall. And there's the summit cairn. It lives up to its name. It's very lofty, pointy, sits out on the end of these crags, these scary looking crags. I'll show you down them, look, right down there into the abyss. They look even more frightening in this clag. Look at that, vertical. We're just passing Scoat Tarn to our left. There is no rain as such, but I keep getting great big blobs of water hit me on the head. Great big massive raindrops, but just every once in a while. So I'm not sure what's going on. You could hear a pin drop up here. It's very eerie and atmospheric. I think we could be in for a bit of thunder maybe. We'll bypass Scoat Fell because we've already done it, and we'll head for Black Crag. Yep, another Black Crag. There's two, one on Pillar side and one on Red Pike that we crossed earlier. And then from Black Crag we'll head up onto Pillar. We're just on the approach of Black Crag, and I do believe it's starting to clear for us. I'm going to go and have a look on the edge here, down Mosedale. We can't be far away from Black Crag now. We've got to summit Black Crag and then pass Wind Gap and then up to the top of Pillar. Wow, look at that ridge behind us. Atmospheric, absolutely gorgeous. Black Crag summit, 828 metres. It's a Burkitt, a Hewitt and a Nuttall. And there you go. Drop off here to Windy Gap. It's a proper scattering of boulders off the front here, or the back in our case, of Black Crag, heading now towards Pillar. And we're just dropping down into Wind Gap now. There's the cairn that marks the route down the Screes back into Mosedale. Believe me, that is one horrible route. I wouldn't ever want to go back down there. And that's the other side of Wind Gap, looking down into Ennerdale. Black Crag's just starting to clear behind us now. It's a little bit of a scramble to the summit plateau of Pillar. There's the rock star. Go on, lad. Go on, up. Go on, up, up, up. Good boy. And I'm just looking back at our route. That's Wasdale Head down there. We came so far up Mosedale, where we then head up Dorehead Screes into the Col of Dore Head between Newbarrow and Red Pike. We followed the ridge along to the summit of Red Pike, where we then drop down to Black Crag here, then into Wind Gap, and now we're just going to head up there. Pillar summit, marked with a shelter and a trig point. 892 metres. It's a big one. It's a Wainwright, a Burkitt, a Hewitt, a Nuttall and a Madeline. There you go. We've just came over to the second summit shelter, which marks the exit down to Pillar Rock and the Shamrock Traverse. So from the summit of Pillar we're going to drop down to Stead and then to Black Sail Pass and then back down into Wasdale. And just look at these crags as you're dropping down off the summit of Pillar. These would eventually drop you into Pillar Cove. Absolutely fantastic, look at that, amazing. Wow, let's have a closer look. So yeah, right down there below us is Pillar Cove. If you kept going that way you'd end up at Pillar Rock. The Shamrock Traverse is down there. These pinnacles are just amazing. Wow, look at that. There is a lower path down here. You don't actually have to stand on the edge of them crags. You can bypass them altogether by this path, which a lot of people often do when they're coming up from Black Sail Pass. They actually miss them crags that I've just came down from. What a fantastic view you get from them. They're absolutely amazing. Well worth that little detour along the edge. And now we're back down on the main path. As you can see, there's cairns here. Follow this fence along and down to Stead. So there's Pillar behind us now, and you can see there's two paths. There's a path that kind of runs up the middle there. That's the easier path that most people go up. We came down the higher path that goes on the edge of them crags and then down here. Fantastic, a much better route. There's Black Crag, Red Pike and Newbarrow. Scarfell's in the mist. Kirkfell straight ahead of us, the other side of Black Sail Pass. Behind Kirkfell, Great Gable, also in the mist. We're back on rock, looking down onto Stead. Master of all his surveys. So the path that I'm on traverses below Stead, but we're going to take this path up along these old fence posts up to the summit of Stead and then drop down the ridge on the other side and back onto this path. Looking Stead's summit, 627 metres. It's a bucket and a nut all. We just followed the fence back down and then eventually onto Blacksale Pass. You won't can see much with this camera, but there's Blacksale Youth Hostel in the bottom of Ennerdale, the most remote youth hostel in England. Over the Ennerdale Valley there we've got the Buttermere Fells. Dropping all the way down to Haystacks. Not a bad little wild camping place up here on Looking Stead. It's above the main path that takes you to Pillar. There's a nice little tarn just down here at the end. Plenty of grass, plenty of flat places. In fact, there's two little tarns. There you go, look. Nice clean water too. Our lads having a little dip. The big cairn in the bottom of the pass marks the top of Blacksale Pass. If you turn left, you'll end up in Ennerdale. If you turn right, you'll end up in Wasdale. If you go straight ahead, you'll scramble your way up to the top of Kirkfell. This is a very, very popular path out of Wasdale. Most of it's pitched as you come down. Yesterday, Bank Holiday Monday, this path would have been absolutely buzzing with people, but we've hardly seen anyone on the whole route today. There's Pillar, now towering above us. You've got to ford it, there's no other option, so be aware if there's a lot of water in it, you're going to want more than trainers on. I'm just looking up on my route this morning now, up Dorehead Screes. That's it, right in front of us. There. Wow. What can I say? Looks steep from here. I believe there's another route a little higher up the valley. Goes up from a big boulder. The Y boulder it's called, as it's got a crack in the shape of the letter Y. You go up from that boulder. I think you go up that dry stone wall. You might not can see it from here, but that one there. But I mean, just look at the ascent. It almost takes you to the summit of Red Pike. I'll probably do it one day, but there is no path on the map, so it's kind of off-piste. I do have a few routes that I've looked at on the internet. My friend Paul Sharkey from website Sharky's Dream has been up there and he's got a route on there. Remember that one, Sharky's Dream? I was looking at his route the other day, but I've not really studied it enough to want to go and do it, you know, blind, without having a little think about it first. I mean, just look at the ascent, for God's sakes. There must be about 700 metres of ascent in that. And failing that, you do have the option of wind gap, which is there, and that's even more bonkers. Well, we're back into the valley of Mosedale now. We haven't got too far to get back into Wasdale Head. From that gate, I would say maybe 3/4 of a mile. So I'm going to wrap my video up here and say thank you for watching. If you like my content, please think about giving me a subscribe. The walk today was about 8 mile. Big ascent again. I think we've done somewhere in the region of about 3,700 foot of ascent. So yeah, bye from me, and goodbye from our lad, the rock star Billy Bob Foster. From the car park at Wasdale Head, we took the path behind the back of the inn to the valley of Mosedale. From the valley of Mosedale, we took a left turn and steeply headed up Dorehead Screes to the Col of Dore Head. From the Col, we then head up to the small summit of Black Crag, and then along the ridge to the summit of Red Pike. We then crossed over to Black Crag, dropped down to Wind Gap, and then up to the summit of Pillar. Dropping down the ridge of Pillar, we reached Stead, and from Stead dropped down into Black Sail Pass, taking the path all the way back down into Mosedale and back to Wasdale Head.